I think passive is a bunch of bullshit. It's not a thing. There's nothing passive. I mean, I don't care if you use a damn napkin, you can write their credit card down. I've helped over 10,000 people become millionaires. So why do you let your fear and all that crap that goes on internally drive a very logical decision? You either want to pay taxes or you're just going to keep paying or not.
Welcome to the Entrepreneur's Logbook podcast. I'm your host, Zachary. You can find me on social at @ZachB. In each episode, I bring on experts from various industries for you to learn about their strategies and insights driving extreme business growth. The Entrepreneur's Logbook podcast is sponsored by PR, where we're dedicated to helping entrepreneurs build their thought leadership and business by booking them on podcasts. Today, we're joined by Loral Langemeier, CEO and founder of Live Out Loud, a wealth coaching and financial company that helps entrepreneurs and everyday people build multiple streams of income and accelerate their path to real, lasting wealth. Known worldwide as the Millionaire Maker, Loral spent over 2 decades helping thousands of people shift out from the traditional employee mindset and into building income-generating assets. She's the best-selling author of several books, including The Millionaire Maker, and has built her reputation on a simple but powerful philosophy. Wealth isn't about one big break. It's about building a repeatable cycle of income assets and a team around you that keeps the cycle growing. Loral, it's great to have you on the show. Welcome aboard.
Thank you. Thanks, Zach. It's great to be here today.
Well, really appreciate you jumping on the show. And I'll tell you, we've had a good amount of guests from every background that you could think of, but building wealth is one that's always present as the back burner. It's not something that's talked about right. is a main focus. I'm really excited for this episode because I think it's going to bring a different perspective. But as this is a business entrepreneurship podcast, one of the things I always like to ask to any guests that come on is if you had to restart your company or maybe even your career from scratch, knowing everything that you know today, what's maybe the one thing that you would do differently that you feel some people get wrong?
Oh, wow. What would I do differently? Start earlier, get a team faster. So start earlier and get a team. So I started the journey of learning about wealth building at 17 when I got the book Think and Grow Rich. I was actually at a Canadian event. Dennis Waitley, run to the front of the room in those eras, get the book. And so I was like, oh my gosh. So I ran in front of the room, got Think and Grow Rich, and was like, oh my gosh, people could actually have a very different perspective in life and thinking about wealth. And it's still at 21. I hired Bob Proctor as my first official $25,000 mentor that I couldn't afford in college. Right. So I would say you got to go faster. So I was still in what I call the traditional. I think and I know it still persists it's I'll get there, but it's not, like you said, urgent, wealth building's for when you're older or later. It's no, I mean, what I knew in my 20s, but I didn't execute until my 30s. So I was a millionaire at 34. I would have executed faster, hired more team faster, know you can afford it. It all works out.
Yeah. Reinvesting in yourself faster. I mean, It kind of looks like you did that still pretty fast. I mean, at 17, you got a book, and then at 21, you're paying Bob here. So, I mean, I think you did it correctly, but you wish maybe you had done that faster. I mean, it's always about faster, more volume, more efforts. I love that. So cool. And one of the things that I'd love for you to walk us through a bit is, I mean, you've obviously helped thousands of people, as I mentioned earlier, but when someone comes to you wanting to, hey, Loral, I want to build wealth. Where do I start? What does that progress actually look like? How do you take someone from where they are to actually building some income generating assets?
Yep. And I wrote it all here. I'm going to give everybody a book of my Millionaire Maker. Last year was my 25th anniversary. So it's now version 2 with 40 more families in the back. So 47 families to kind of compare your progress to. But the journey starts with an initial assessment. I call it a gap analysis of where are you and what do you want? That identifies, because some people, their start is they have a lot of lazy assets. They have a 401k that's not performing, RSP in Canada. So they either have, real estate that's not performing. So do they start there? Do they start with corporate structure to reduce their taxes? Or like you said, do they start with that cash machine to go generate new income? So it's usually one of those categories we address first. I always make sure the foundation on tax, corporate structure, trust, they're solid, because why build a bunch of wealth on a, house of sand, as they call it, which most people have. So while our teams are actually doing that work, we are either one of two ways. We're either helping them come up with money rules and a diversity plan for their assets, or they're doing their income. And if they do income, like they'll get back to their assets, but they don't have enough income to even buy proper assets. So, you got to generate income to then use that active income to go buy passive assets. And that's what I call the wealth cycle. What's interesting is how many people have, and I hate the word ignorance, so I must say no knowledge or awareness. Like sometimes, like I have a channel, it's called AskLoral.com. People ask all the questions, but a primary theme, Zach, is I just want to have passive income. I have a job, but I want an extra 5 to 10,000. Just what kind of business could I do just to make me 5 or 10? I'm thinking, I would love that business if I didn't have to do everything. If somebody passively would just pay me. So the lack of understanding about what active and passive is, because I don't think passive is the thing. I think passive is a bunch of bullshit. I mean, it's just, it's not a thing. There's nothing passive. Passive means you're doing nothing. So while you do nothing, you think laying on the couch, someone's going to just pay you. So I call it Pactive. It's a word that you'll read in the Millionaire Maker for those who get it. And so even like I'm in a big syndicate in Kansas, in a big apartment. So, but I go to quarterly shareholder meetings. I'm still like getting the accounts and I'm not just doing nothing. So the people who think that passive is a thing, I like to myth that doesn't happen. So it just depends on where people are. Cause my theme is I'm going to meet you where you are, take you where you want to go. Most people, I'd say the majority of people need to learn to make their own money. If I had a theme across all nations, because I've taught all over the world except for Antarctica, they need to learn to make money outside of a job. And entrepreneurialism is not taught, and it's not taught properly. I don't know how you feel about it, Zach, and you're a lot younger than I am, but still the theory of it takes months and years. No, today you could make money. Every one of you listening have a brain. Like you have a podcast. If you wanted, you could sell your time. Is it a great idea? Probably not for long-term and sustainable growth. But for today, if you needed to, can you monetize your brilliance today? And so I start with what I call fast cash. What can you do today? Because I want evidence. I want bank accounts loading up quickly so they feel more confident. And evidence creates confidence. So it's fun.
Like I feel like whenever we work with clients, like I like to call those like quick wins. It's like you find like anything that can provide like value. I mean, it's like the same thing. Like you look at anything that you have on like your monopoly board, for example, like, okay, how can we produce these into like assets, cash? But I like what you mentioned though, like the passive, because I like this. I mean, everyone has a big misconception. Like whenever they're saying like, I want to make some money, like I want to make some passive income. And I feel like anyone that's getting into maybe entrepreneurship, making, like John, they're being sold this dream that like, hey, you can create a passive income machine. I mean, there's so many people out there making promises, and I feel if you're just getting into the space, you probably got like hooked into that a little bit. And then as you learn more things, you're like, it's not really passive. Like I still have to do like a couple things to, get the actual income out of those things. So I do appreciate you calling that out, because I'll tell you, there's so many people that try to sell that, and it's full of it.
And they make millions selling that BS.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's why they keep selling it.
Because people still want the dream. I don't have to do anything.
Yeah, but you have to put in the work, as you said. Like you can never just make money and just not do anything. I mean, you'll have to acquire capital, invest into something to be able to get that income, and it's typically not be fully passive here. But one thing I'd love to like shift gears a little bit here, because I know we're literally just talking about there's people selling the dream, talking about all these things. To put it simply, there's no shortage of like money experts, to put it very simply.
Oh, I know.
And what I love to understand is, what do you think people misunderstand about building wealth that's kind of keeping them stuck following the wrong advice? I know obviously the passive one is the wrong advice, but I imagine there's probably a couple more that you've seen over time here.
Oh, huge. But the one thing I just got to share this funny saying, because I've had some people really like, but I was promised the internet would bring me money. I said, the internet doesn't just pop out money. There's a human that has to give you a credit card. So you have to influence anyway, I always say the internet's not going to just do out dollars into your bank account. I always laugh about that. But the biggest problem that I see, because it is the financial services world is so segregated, right? So they intentionally have like an estate lawyer, real estate, insurance, but they're not talking to your tax person. And every move you make in life has a tax consequence. I don't care what country or how big your tax laws are. Like I think the Canadians is in the thousands, like 3,000 or 4,000 pages. Ours is 83,000 pages. We have the biggest tax code in the world. So when people don't understand, like any move you make, like how you spend money, like if you go out and you had to buy my book, if you had a company, it's 100% deductible. If it's you, you just spent money. So I always say, to people in building wealth, the biggest excuse, number one excuse is I'm not ready. It's like, well, you're not going to get ready because you don't even know how to get ready. That'd be like, you have no clue how to get ready. And if you attempted to get ready, you're probably going to screw it up. It's going to cost more to fix you. So there's this segregation problem, which is why my company brand is actually Integrated Wealth Systems. So integratedwealthsystems.com. Live Out Loud is the company that holds the DBA because Live Out Loud didn't mean anything. So I changed the name to Integrated Wealth. The reason is the integration is critical. Every move you make should have a team of people around you. And wealth building with speed starts at 18 years old. In the world, you are an adult and you can have a company. And all you have to do is come up with a legal reason to make money. And now you activate a tax code that gives you a completely different tax structure. So if I'd say one thing, it's the stop using excuses like I don't have to get ready. But the thing is the lack of understanding about what your structure and tax, the basis of your, what I call your financial infrastructure. If you do not have that set, you'll overpay taxes your whole life. And here's a gross statistic, Zach. For every year that you overpay $10,000, if you had invested that accumulating over 20 years at just say 12%, you would have made yourself $1.1 million. But you gave it to a government agency and overpaying tax. So I call tax the invisible pain because people, and if you think about most money experts and programs, a lot of it's the fluff of your mindset, right? Because I was in The Secret, I can kind of, that's lovely, but you got to have the true action. And then a lot of it's too internet centric or too real estate centric. And there's not the holistic view of all the parts of money. So what slows people down is segregating their learning, not integrating their learning, and not paying attention to tax. At 18 years old, like my kids got, in America, they're called LLCs. My kids at 18 both got an LLC for their birthday. That's how serious, like you will learn to make money and have an entrepreneurial venture your whole life. Because even if you have a job, my son's a CPA, he's got a job, you still have that company to offset taxes doing something else. So that's the biggest slowdown, having done this now over 30 years.
Yeah. And I mean, like and when we talk about like money advice, like, yeah, you're correct. Like there's going to be like segregated like advice coming from like all different like categories. But again, if you're taking all your advice on like one person, I mean, you're missing so many different components. And I feel like a lot of people get boggled down with taxes because they don't think about them too much. And I mean, I'm not sure if you would say that's like very applicable more on like a personal level. I mean, obviously if you have like an LLC, yes. But I mean, I had someone on her podcast a couple of weeks ago, and you mentioned something to me that kind of stuck. You mentioned that the way you should be looking at taxes is in some cases, they can actually be a profit center. Because if you know how to effectively navigate all the pages, I mean, I know there's obviously a lot of them, but you can keep more of this money here. And I thought that was like an interesting saying that he mentioned that.
Yeah, I do. I always say the taxes are prescriptive, but here's how taxes are treated in the segregated model is, and there's kind of 2 points I want to make. Number one, it's segregated intentionally. And the way that tax has been educated and informed in the world is just that damn form you have to fill out in America by April 15th and in Canada by, I think it's June 30th. I don't remember. I know that's Australians, but you have this tax year end and then you hand all your box of stuff, metaphorically, it could be a file, to a CPA or an accountant. And then they do what you did. So basically they're a historian. They're just recording your history. They're not sitting with you as a strategist saying, okay, Zach, how much are you going to make in the next 12 months? Let's keep more of, you're going to make $1 million. Let's keep 900,000 of it. And let's use that for your own wealth building. And honestly, with our tax teams all over the world, that's the one thing I've done is I've surrounded myself with 28 financial licensed experts. So I'm the navigator, kind of the quarterback in the middle, helping people move. Okay, you need this expert, you need this expert. You don't need that expert now, but you need that expert. And you forgot about that expert. So I help coordinate the experts is really what my role in this business has become, because integration is complicated. And I know enough about each of these areas to then help the client put the right team and the right plan together, if that makes sense. So that's where that's where I've ended up in my career. It wasn't where I started in my career. I was doing all of the parts. But then to get a lot of these, I've helped over 10,000 people become millionaires. But it's not just me. It's me coordinating their team. And again, back to tax, it's not just just a tax return being filed. And I think that's what the world thinks. It's just like, well, it is what it is. And somebody's just got to file that form. And it's like, oh no, there's a whole plan around this that you could,
Yeah.
I think it's the most creative thing ever, Zach, because it's like you get to build your masterpiece of, okay, I only want to pay 5,000. I'm going to make millions, but I'm going to pay 5. You got to get really creative.
Yeah.
Really creative.
The way I like to think about it is there is like tax planning, but there's also tax strategy. And like most people only do the tax planning, or it's more like in a reactive fashion where they're just going to like file the return whenever they need to do it. But they're not strategically putting steps into motion to be able to get to that 5,000, for example.
Yeah.
And I feel that's a big part that's missing from a lot of people here. And I guess for like someone who feels like they're behind, because I mean, you see that every single day. A lot of people, you know, they've done all the work and then they realize they just maybe look at their little nest egg and then they're like, wow, you know, I'm retiring pretty soon. I don't really have much going on. Maybe not retiring pretty soon, but I've been working for like 15, 20 years and I feel like I'm behind. And for someone that wants to like catch up quickly, what would you say should be the first few moves that they should be actually making to get back in line and have all their ducks in a row here?
Well, again, depends. I always do an assessment, pretty deep assessment of who's who, like where are they? Sometimes, like people who are making millions, I mean, if we can just go after that tax savings and affect 40 to 50,000 and they put that towards, say, just say we can help them save 50,000 and then we do that for the next 5 years, I'd say that's 5 to 10 pieces of property they could have bought. Right. And now they can use that savings to go buy assets to catch up. Some people actually aren't making hardly any money, which is why taxes don't occur to them because they're not really overpaying because they're not making enough to overpay. So then we go after money making. So I have clients like yesterday, I onboarded a client. She's 80 years old. She does Medicare and Medicaid insurance. She's right up to next to the Canadian border. And she has a nice nest egg, but it's not enough. And she's super healthy. She plans to live to 100. So she came at 80. Came to my big table and said, so we're going to help her ramp up. And so she doesn't know a lot of marketing because of her age and just all the things that have changed. So we're going to put a marketing team around her, get her new website, update her CRM, and get her making a lot more money. And then she'll use the new money for new assets. So it's either in tax savings. It's usually 3 ways that I would attack it, which is tax savings is always number one because that's sort of an obvious home run. Make more money. And then get your assets making more money too. Because a lot of people, people do CDs still, like bonds. I mean, bonds are fine, but CDs, because you'll have your lower interest things, but there are people who literally live their entire portfolio sub 10 as a ROI. I'm like, right now in the market, if you're not producing in the 20s, you're asleep. Like I have part of my portfolio, like my land, energy, and water inside my portfolio is doing like 28 to 32. So you got to look at where the problems are and where that speed is. And I'd also say that's my gift is I have, again, enough breadth having done this in so many areas. And it's not an arrogant statement. It's just I always say it's my gift from God. I get to see the maze and say, let's move some chess pieces around and then you're going to get there faster. And you can get there faster.
But like the overall like theme that I'm seeing here, Loral, is having a team beside you that's guiding you, advising you is like very crucial. Like a lot of people are just going to try to like do this themselves. They're going to try to look at YouTube, which you can definitely find a lot of like interesting information, but it could also lead some like pretty big mistakes if you don't do it effectively. So like surrounding yourself with the good people is
real people. I've had I have YouTube, I have all these things. For years, especially since post-COVID, I went from 100% TV and stage. Right? I was traveling all over the world. Like I said, before we started the show, I've been in your area. I love Nova Scotia. And you keep going up. Iceland's on my bucket list coming next and Greenland. I love those. Anyway, my point is I've been doing this for so long. My YouTube channel, you can consume all of it. You could read all 6 books. I got 6 New York Times. You still don't have, I'm going to say like a strategist who's going to help put them together. And worse than that, there was a period in my career too, Zach, where I knew they needed it. So I would just say, I actually wrote in the back of every book I have, how do you interview a wealth expert? So I have like questions like, how do you interview an accountant? How do you interview this person? How do you get these people? So even if you can get them, because I've had people not want to pay the tuition for me to just use my team, they'll go out and try to find one. I said, but you still don't know enough to coordinate them. And you're still wondering. So a lot of those people become my client who have teams, and they're just realizing like, why isn't the estate lawyer talking to my tax guy? Because when I die, there'll be estate tax. Shouldn't they have a relationship? And he's like, but I tried to get them on the phone. I said, I know, but they won't because they like fees and commissions, fees and commissions. So that's the role that I've, taken, is to be that coordinator of all those people and to have an amazing team that'll work with clients all over the world. It's a big deal though. It's, so interesting because money, I always say, when I first met Bob Proctor at 21, I was thinking like, what do I want to do? Because when I met him, I was an exercise physiologist. I mean, still am by trade, but
Sure.
I said, I was following the Rich Dad Poor Dad team. So I became the master distributor of the cash flow game. In fact, Darren Weeks, who's in Canada, was one of our first Canadian millionaires through the cash flow game and then became my client. We've had so many cool Canadians become like millionaires and just do cool stuff. We have actually the number one photographer in North America is a Canadian out of Vancouver. Mark, he's super cool. Yeah, it's been fun to like help so many people in so many different trades. But anyway, I went down a little tangent because I love this stuff and I think it's fabulous, but you cannot do it alone. And I was going to say, when Bob was coaching me, he said, pick a topic like money, sex, and God. Nobody talks about them. He said, you'll have a career of a lifetime because you're going to talk about three things that are like, oh, we don't talk about money. And that's still in a lot of cultures a thing. Like when I enter a country, and I don't have to say which countries because you probably could figure it out. And I from the stage, as a woman, say, how much do y'all make? I mean, it is like, you don't ask that question. Like, yeah, you do. I got to know how much money you make if I want to help you. And I just say it so freely. I was like, hey, do you need a drink of water? Oh, how much money do you make? I mean, it's just...
Okay. What an icebreaker, Loral.
Well, because the minute the other one I use too, Zach, is all I have to ask is what month did you pay taxes? And that tells me a whole bunch about people. I can just put the dominoes in play about what their life looks like.
Yeah, because you can tell if they have a corporation, if they're like a W-2 or anything like that, just by asking that question. I see where you're going with that. So
that's funny.
That's a nice icebreaker. Never thought about that one. So maybe I'll give it a try. I'm not too sure if it's going to work in my profession the way I do things, but I know it definitely works for you. So keep doing that, and
that's funny.
I'm sure it'll work well. So one other thing that I also wanted to talk about, because I feel like the economy is like a big one that, obviously it's surrounding every single one of us, but I feel like it's shifting like constantly right now. You could think of inflation, job security, all that jazz. Like one thing, because I know we talked about like the practical advice, like what things you should be doing, type of people you should be surrounding yourself with. But one thing that I feel like a lot of people don't touch on too much is more the emotional side of things, like the mindset, the habits, to be able to obviously get ahead. Like what kind of habits and mindset do you think separates the people who come out ahead from the people who just get left behind, stick with the old habits and just like not grow?
100%. It's knowledge, lack of knowledge. And it's correlated with a word that people who don't move call fear and risk. It's so scary. It's risky. And I said, anything you do. So I've skied since I was 4. Like I've skied all over the world. And my kids are amazing skiers. So now, not today because I've hurt my knee, but if you went and followed my kids or you meet where I used to go, you'd be scared to death. I love skiing.
I'm a terrible skier, so I probably would.
Your country, oh my gosh, you have some of the greatest skiing in the world in northern Canada. So I said, if we took you some of those peaks where we were dropped off in a helicopter, you'd be fierce too. But if you learned, knowledge, you learn the skill and knowledge of how to ski, it's an exhilarating thing. So why I teach the wealth building this way is because it is exhilarating. It's not that hard. You got to make a bunch of money. You got to keep it through tax planning. You got to invest it. So you make it, keep it, invest it. Like that's the formula. And people that don't move, they allow the fear of not knowing versus to answer your question, those who win, read all the books. They consume my YouTube. They're comparing me against Tony or Grant Cardone or Kiyosaki, and we all kind of say the same things differently. But I have a really high touch organization. Like I'm probably one of the only gurus in the world that give my personal cell phone when you become a client at the big table. I have that much of a relationship. So I created distinctions in it all to get you to go faster. But you have got to want to learn. And the lack of knowledge. And then there's this lovely thing that's just embarked upon us and hit the whole world hard. May 27th of this year, when Google changed their search parameters, AI changed everything. So now instead of thinking and knowledge, they'll just ask Claude or they'll ask ChatGPT. But that doesn't just, that's another outside influence. It's not you in a book saying, all right, how does this apply to me and how am I going to change my behavior? So if you were a W-2 and you need to go make more money, you need to have already pre-prescribed, when are you going to do that during your day? Are you going to take lunches and stop going and hanging out with your friends? Are you going to stop going out to the pub afterwards and get to marketing and selling? Like, what are you behaviorally going to do to put effort into making the money? And on the other side, what effort are you doing to go find investments if that's what you need to go do? So it's the lack of knowledge, skill. And so I would say a decision, right? It's made by knowledge, skill, and emotion. And you got to manage emotion. Emotion has nothing to do with money. Numbers don't lie, people do. So why do you let your fear and all that crap that goes on internally drive a very logical decision? You either want to pay taxes or you're just going to keep paying or not. It's like that's a yes or no. What do you want? Oh, I want less. Okay, then we go do these things, and these things cause a new result. So I make it extremely common sense, logical. I think I know I do. That's what I've been told by my style. But so many people, knowledge, they just won't study.
Yeah.
They think Claude and ChatGPT is going to replace their damn brain. It's like, it's not.
No, I see more as like a helper, and it needs a context for you to be able to make those decisions. Obviously, if you provide no context, how's it going to give you some good advice? I mean, I think it's great to use Claude. I use it every single day. I've used it for the past 3 years, but you also need a team of advisors that are able to give you suggestions based on your current situation, where you're at. Yeah, experience is a pretty good one.
Claude doesn't have an experience or intuition or, I'd say the intuition and experience is what you missed in any of those. And you got to have it. Like, I still hire mentors today. I've hired mentors my entire life. And people are still shocked why I spend money doing that. And I said, because there's always a next level. There's always a next thing. There's a refinement. There's some distinction I don't know that I need to know. And I'd be crazy to stop learning because I expect you, my client, to keep learning. And learning's just not, there's just, I could go on and on.
It's not something that you stop. Like, you consistently will need to educate yourself again to get to that next level. But I feel like what you were saying falls down to just having like relentless urgency in terms of just doing the things that need to be done instead of just like delaying them or just being like scared of like jumping into like the other and just doing the thing. I mean, it's simple as that. Like, a lot of people are just going to overcomplicate things. Like, how do I do this when the solution is right in front of them? It's like, you literally just have to do it. But people are just going to make so many different scenarios in their head why they need to do another way. They need to do this first. No, you just have to do it. As simple as that goes. That's my philosophy, at least. Yeah,
I totally agree. Like, I have clients, and I've given this client to a lot. I just have one that comes to mind because she was insistent that she created this marketing system, because we do support and sell a marketing system, rapid marketing, and it involves a CRM, and it takes a while to build. So once that's all built, then they can activate it. Leads can come in through your posts and the things we know how to do. I said, but today, you don't need anything. You just need this and this, because she is coaching people who had like kids that passed earlier than the parent, right? So her message is to grieving parents. And I say, here's what you have to do. You're going to go on this phone and you're going to text 20 people today and then 20 people tomorrow. And you're going to say, my name is blah, 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 right? I'm a grief specialist. And is there anything in your life that I could work with you on? I mean, just set up appointments and ask for them and create an offer and ask for the money. It takes nothing. I mean, I don't care if you use a damn napkin, you can write their credit card down. I mean, like, people, when I said this because I am such a bootstrapper, like, I've made millions of dollars with my phone, napkins on an airplane, no business card, no books, no nothing, because I was serving a person's life. And everybody can do that. Anybody could do that today. To your point, overcomplicate. No, I have to have the system. The system, again, the internet's not going to pay you. You're going to get yourself paid by serving people's lives and solving a problem for them.
Love that. Laura, and any parting thoughts? I feel like there was a lot of ground that we covered here, but I love to hear if you have like any other parting thoughts that people like, hey, these are like a couple things I would look at doing if you're trying to get your finances in order, build wealth, anything that comes to mind there.
Okay. We set up a link. It's called askloral.com/podcast. So you're going to go grab the ebook copy. I also have 2 tickets to my Millionaire Intensive. I teach a class live with a team of my experts for 5 hours the first Thursday of every month. So whenever you can get that, you have 2 tickets and the book. Go get that. It's in the show notes. And then read at least up to chapter 3 for the gap analysis, because that'll give you where are you really. And then the parting thoughts are, don't let your emotions run it. Just know that you have got to take this on, put it in your day. Every day you've got to, if money and creating wealth is important, then how much time do you spend a day doing it? Like calendar it in your day if you have to, because your behavior is just going to take over. And all of a sudden another year's gone by and I still didn't get that company. I still didn't move my assets. You have to make it something that you're going to do and pay attention to. And it's yours because no one can sign for you. Like that's one thing, I would say with money, with health and wealth, no one can go to the gym for you and no one can create those bank accounts for you. You got to be the one to do it. So I can guide you and teach you. And I've been a personal trainer. So it's fun that I've been on both sides of these, but I can go to the gym, but that's for my benefit. It's not going to help you. So you got to get to work.
Got to do the work. No one can do it for you. I think that's probably
work.
the best message to leave the audience with here. Well, Loral, really appreciate you jumping on. We're going to obviously put all those notes in the description of your website, to the link that you mentioned for the tickets on the book here. And then, to listeners, if you've enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast. You can also find more insight at wefuture.com, where we're dedicated to helping entrepreneurs build their thought leadership in business by getting them on podcasts. Until then, keep pushing, and see you in the next one.